For today's cup of coffee, I'm actually going to start out with a writing from Paul Harvey. And for those of you who may not know who Paul Harvey was, an absolutely amazing radio speaker and just always very thought provoking. And it was a wonderful thing to listen to him. And he always ended his show or his segment or whatever with this is Paul Harvey. Good day. It was his signature line. I've got youngest kid because he doesn't know who Paul Harvey is. And I need to make sure that he does know who Paul Harvey is because he was an amazing person. You can speak until I start reading. And then
Okay.
He's just sort of sitting here and it's always kind of an interesting thing when you're getting to read something. It's like, do you want an audience? It's like, are we doing forensics like we did in high school? That's not like clinical forensics where you're dissecting bodies. You dissect languages and poetries and essays. And
I'm fine with both.
I honestly think that the dissection of poetry, unless you are going to be an English scholar,
Honestly,
is
it just ruins
pointless.
the magic.
It does. It ruins. It's like phys ed has ruined many a kid from ever wanting to have any kind of partake in sports or physical activity or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Dodgeball. That will knock.
dodgeball
It fails out of you anything.
Dodgeball is sort of like hazing. I don't know if it's where we have gotten rid of most rites of passage in our culture, and that dodgeball.
They'll make sure to hit you in the head.
Oh yeah, dodgeball is one of the remaining rites of passage, or what? I don't have bastard child coffee. I actually had enough left from this morning to where
I kind of wish I brought my drink out.
I have a proper cup of coffee. So
I may have to hop off the porch and go over to the other door.
Oh, you'll be all right. This actually is not long. And again, this was written in 1965, and that was the year of my birth, and this is my birth month. My Leo self on the 25th. Mm-hmm. My little Leo sun, Libra rising, moon in Gemini.
We could have skipped out on the Gemini part, but
No, as far as the moon in Gemini, what that does for me, it's like it is a thirst for knowledge and newness. I have to have new knowledge, new activities, different things like that. It's a matter of needing newness, freshness. But it's one of those that it's almost like a fixation. It's like, oh, study, done. I'm full. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah.
So that's one of those, jack of all trades, master of none. This essay that he wrote, and I will post a link to his actual oration of this because it's brilliant. And there's no way that I'm going to try to even sound like Paul Harvey because that would be foolish. I'm just going to sound like myself. And this essay is called If I Were the Devil. If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I began with a campaign of whispers. The wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old, I would teach to pray after me, Our Father which art in Washington. Then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting, so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild, until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and defy science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbols of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what do you bet I could get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich? I would caution against extremes and hard work in patriotism and moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus, I could undress you in public. I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
That's
Prophetic.
Literally what's going on right now.
Absolutely. This was written in 1965. And Mr. Harvey was an extremely intelligent man. And there were quite a few people that could see this coming even then. And you think of this, 56 years later.
It's coming true.
Absolutely, all of it has come true and more.
Mm-hmm.
There were things that are happening that even he couldn't have foreseen. And I think that's a good thing. Because things that are happening in the world today, for those who are older, it is so difficult for them to wrap their heads around. And it is a form of cognitive dissonance. They know it's happening, but they still are in denial that it's happening because they don't want to believe that it's happening. And for the kids that are growing up that will believe this is normal, oh, God help them.
Until God comes back, we're screwed.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a matter that there is hope, and that is one of the things I always like to have a hopeful message here on the Sabbath. And He is our hope, and that is a confident expectation of something occurring. That is not just, airy-fairy dreaming that something good will happen. So there is a biblical definition of hope that is different than people, people use that. It's like pray. They don't understand the power behind prayer. It's interesting because people will discount the power of prayer, and yet if someone speaks a spell over them, they would have a tendency to believe that. It's words and intention. It's just a matter of who you speak in the words to and what your intention is.
Exactly.
So I think that, and it's like, how many times do you hear people say, well, I guess we'll just pray. Oh, no, that's the first thing to do.
Yeah.
Not the last thing. And it's like, and then they wonder why their prayers don't get answered. Well, you knew that wasn't a request to begin with. That wasn't a prayer. That was just, you talking to the ceiling about defeat. That isn't going to do anything.
No, it's not. Prayer is always the answer.
And it's one of those that, how do we stop this ball that has started rolling like a snowball headed for hell, literally? We start as individuals.
Yep.
It is a matter of finding out who we are, what we believe, why we believe what we believe. It's a matter of reclaiming our faith in God, that connection. It's a matter of reclaiming our families, and then our communities, and then our towns, and our cities, and our states.
Mm-hmm.
And Gandhi was wonderful, and he said, be the change that you want to see in the world. Gandhi was a cool little dude.
Yeah.
So this is a message of hope for this Sabbath. Leo King and others have said that planetary alignments over the next couple of days, especially on Tuesday, can be interesting, that they can be rough, that they can be emotional. He said that it could be very much like November of 2013. That got my attention. I was like, oh, no, no, no. We've been there, done that. Mm-mm. I don't even want the T-shirt.
That's not just a no, that's a hell no.
Yeah.
I ain't getting any of that shit.
That was 2013. We're still trying to find.
That year was the worst.
I don't know that we even know where all the pieces got scattered. And that's okay.
We found most of them.
I don't know. Maybe God gave us a new puzzle to put together.
And if so, that's okay.
Yeah.
Seriously, why not? Why not close the previous chapter and open a new one?
Exactly. But there's things that we know not to do.
Yeah.
Do not. If somebody calls you and says, bail me out, you sit there and go, no, I'll talk to you when you get out. You do that. You got yourself in there, you get yourself out. There are a few exceptions.
And we don't know what's ahead for us either. We don't know.
No.
So why just stop at the, like, let's say, why stop at the previous chapter when when the story is a lot better?
Absolutely.
Up ahead.
Absolutely. And that is what we hold on to, that all this has been for a reason, that it will serve a purpose, and at some time we will understand. That is what is so hard for me. I can go through just about anything if I understand the reason behind it. Which that doesn't always work with God, because it's a matter of you'll understand later, trust and follow now.
Exactly. Because if he gave his plans right away, like, well, the devil would know.
Exactly.
Immediately. So yeah, he does have to speak in cryptic tongues.
Sure. Because a general does not let his enemy know his battle plans.
No.
So we've got problems going down the road. I hope y'all didn't hear that, because we don't know what that was. We've had neighbors with issues lately. So, anyhow, I guess we'll end on that note.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we go back in the house. And
I need to snoop.
Well, no, you don't need to snoop. That's somebody else's business. Don't you be snooping. Mind your own business.
Goodbye.
So, if you all have paranormal or supernatural encounters, if you've had experiences with aliens, UFOs, with or without probing, it depends on the probing on that, whether I want to know about the probing or not. If you have, as far as cryptids, meth heads, in search of meth heads. Hell, we found them. That's all you can say.
We don't need the meth heads. We need the cryptids.
And alternate reality. My God, I feel like I think we've been dropped in an alternate reality. What was it, Wave X or whatever it was several years ago?
Wave X messed Butterbean up.
Wave X messed everything up. So we will talk about the possibility that we were shifted into an alternate reality on a later date.
Yeah.
But anyhow, send your encounters of whatever nature they may be to cupofcoffeewithscream @gmail.com. And don't you give up hope. And you all have a beautiful, blessed day.
Bye.